Are you concerned about how you're going to make it tomorrow or next week or in your retirement years? You need to listen to this. You know, in the Bible, there's two thoughts I want to get across to you. God says that as many as receive him, to them he gave the right to become the children of God. And then he says this, very interesting. He says, humble yourself before the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you at the proper time, because he cares for you. Two things. One, that when we become his sons, but as many as receive him, to them he gives the right to become the children of God. When we become his son, when we're born again, one thing is really clear, is that he cares for us. Let me ask you something. Do you believe that? I mean, not in the general sense. Do you really believe that God personally cares for you as an individual? Everything about you. Well, what kind of loving father would care for you and not provide for your basic necessities of life? And he makes that promise to us that he may provide for us. There's no worry to have to think about, how am I going to make it tomorrow? How am I going to make it next week? In fact, God says, do not do that. Be anxious for nothing, but with all prayer and petition, make your requests known to God. And he says, which of you would ask your father for a loaf of bread and your father would give him a snake? He wouldn't do that. Listen, God knows what you need even before you need it. I can't even begin to tell you all the times in my life when God has provided for me. You know, he's going to take care of you. He says in Matthew 6, he says, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things that people worry about and fuss about, and how am I going to do, or am I going to get this money, I'm going to pay my rent, I'm going to get groceries. He says, all these things they worry about. The Lord knows you need them. He says, you seek his kingdom and his righteousness, and he will provide for you. Now, God is faithful, even at times when we're not. However, there is a little prerequisite, and that is this, is that you need to bring your prayers to God. You need to look to him as a dependent son and say, Lord God, I don't want to trust in my own ability, in my own scheming, in the way that I do things. I want to trust in your provision for me in the most unique way that you want to do it. And Lord God, help me rest in that. You see, when we do that, let me tell you what happens. It builds our faith. People that have a lot of money, or they have a lot of resources, so they're relying on certain other things, they don't have that opportunity. Like people that don't have the means, poor people, or people that don't have a whole lot, to look to God and trust him. And it strengthens our faith. And you can think about those two people that gave money at the same time, the rich Pharisee and the little widow woman. The rich gave a lot out of his abundance, and the little old widow woman gave all she had. Who had more faith? Well, obviously it was that little old widow woman. And Jesus contrasted what they were doing, and he told his disciples who gave more. He gave out of his abundance. She gave out of everything she had. You think God took care of her? You know he did. Listen, I've seen it over and over in my life. By the way, I'm out here at a park that I go walking. It's not too far from where I live. It's a beautiful day after being cold for so long. And I just wanted to encourage somebody. Somebody out there is really concerned. You know, how am I going to make it? Trust God. Look to him as you're his child, and look to him that he cares for you. And he wants to provide for you and take care of you. God bless you.